sixth grader in Montreal, J.B. Bensmihen, didn't understand why he couldn't go to a regular school just because he had cerebral palsy. So he did what few adults, let alone a 6-year-old, would do, and he walked into the office of then Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau and made his case. Trudeau listened and agreed, opening the doors for disabled students to be mainstreamed. Here with his book, Taking Your Place at the Table, The Art of Refusing to be an Outsider, please meet J.B. Bensmihen. It's so good to see you. That is so amazing. So did you realize what a big deal this was as a 6-year-old?
No.
No. So what did you say to Trudeau?
So I walked in and said, there's a law in Canada that says that I can't go to a regular school. How come? I want to go to the same school as my sister. It was a very simple request. And why can't I go to the same school? And in all fairness to the Prime Minister, he had no idea. In other words, and as I explained in my book, he's like, I have to look into this, I don't really know. But he had a genuine concern that if someone walked into his office and was 6 years old, I think if I would have been 16, he would have had the same concern. People don't know what they don't know. The Prime Minister didn't really know that there was such a law. Or he knew, but he thought it was in the benefit of the individual getting the education the way the Canadian system wanted the education to happen.
What was your, I don't want to call it an argument, but your case for this not being the way things would continue?
Advocacy, whether you're 6 or whether you're 16, right, your children will convince you why you need a third car as soon as they turn 16, right? Right? So I wanted to go to the same school as my sister. I didn't feel different. I didn't know I was disabled until someone told me, right? Later on in the book, I explained that I didn't know I was disabled until I was 12. Even walking into the Prime Minister's office at the age of 6 with leg braces, I didn't know I was disabled. I didn't know why I couldn't go to a regular school. It didn't make any sense. So I think the impetus is that people know how to advocate for themselves, and that's really all I was doing.
So you're advocating for this point of view that you need to make a place at the table for yourself, lean into this, that this isn't a process of waiting for somebody to notice you, but to propel yourself forward. What do you mean by that? What are the various tables we're talking about?
So you'll go to a table that you're most comfortable with, right? If I'm a dentist, I'm going to go to a table where there are other dentists, right? If I'm an actor, I'm going to go to a table where I'm most comfortable with actors. If I'm, people inherit certain successes, so they'll go to those tables. If I'm a Catholic or Jewish, I'll go to those types of synagogues or churches, right? Those are tables that we're most comfortable with. I write in my book, at the table that most of us never show up to is the one that we're waiting for an invitation. And my question in the book is, why are you waiting for an invitation? You'll be surprised that 50% of the time, if you show up to a table that you want to go to and you don't wait for an invitation, you'll be asked to stay. But you have to be willing to do the first step, which is, I belong at this table, I want to go, and I'm showing up.
To take that chance.
Correct.
And go there. And though you walk with 2 canes, you've done marathons, you've run for office, you've done all these amazing things, and somehow you did not absorb that message of what I can't do. You absorbed the message of what you can do. How do we get there, all of us?
Just be you. No one knows you better than you. No one. It doesn't really matter if you have a disability or not. There are only 2 kinds of people in the world. You can only be able-bodied or disabled. That's it. Right? And if you're born able-bodied, guess what? I have a news flash. You might become disabled tomorrow. So therefore, plan accordingly. And the way to plan is just be you. Today I can accomplish something. Tomorrow it might take me a little longer. But if I plan for it, I'll be okay.
Then you can do it. You also write in one chapter of your book about the importance of gathering a posse around you for advocacy.
Correct.
Tell me more.
Sure.
I like the idea of having a posse.
Sure. So, I have a master's in social work. And in social work, we call that term cooptation. I can't walk into a place where people have an adversarial relationship against me, usually based on fear. If someone doesn't agree with you or doesn't like you or automatically has an objection against you without you even saying a word, it's 100% of the time I write in my book that it's based on fear. They're afraid of the unknown, of what they don't know is going to happen. So what is JB asking me to do that I'm not prepared to do? So the first step, before I can ask someone to do something, is to bring them over to my side. Right? I wanted to build a bathroom for a place that was not accessible for people with disabilities. And the board of directors I didn't really want to get that done, I write in my book. And not because they were malicious, but because I was a volunteer doing an internship as a social worker. So they thought, as long as JB leaves, eventually his internship will end, and then we will just kick him out, and
we won't have to deal
we'll
with
just
it.
ride the clock. So I realized very quickly, other than people with disabilities who need a disabled bathroom, who else needs additional bathroom stalls? Women. So I got the women of the group. I said, look, I want to build a bathroom that's accessible for people with disabilities. But I'll make it a uniform bathroom, so therefore, when people with disabilities are not here, or no one's using it, women have an additional bathroom to use. And that's the art of cooptation. Get others who will benefit from the benefit to make it happen.
That is brilliant, because our line is always longer than their line. So that was pretty smart. So you've taken your case about life to President Obama, many other people. Have you found people to be receptive and open and able to hear what you're talking about?
Most people are. Most people are very receptive. People like the book. People say, JB, we hear you speak. When we read the book, we're listening to you speak.
It's in your voice.
It's how I speak. Again, I didn't know I was becoming famous or infamous, right? I didn't need to meet Prime Minister Trudeau, right? I didn't need to meet President Obama, right? There were issues within their respective administrations in their respective countries that I didn't agree with. And I felt that I had the ability and the knowledge and the desire to make a change, and therefore I said my piece, you know.
There are just wonderful things in the book about asking why not if you're not at the table, or building your own table, and I think we can all relate to this. And I just really want to thank you for what you've been doing since you were 6 and being you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
So
Thanks
good
so much.
to meet you. It's going to get crazy in here. We're going to change subjects. Cisco Morris and his pal horticulturist Richie Steffen are getting into a containers war after this.